Welcome to the Light and Dark podcast. I'm your host, Sam Renfro. In this podcast, we'll explore what it means to be fully human, embracing all aspects of the human experience, the light and the dark. We'll discuss all things health and wellness, spirituality, and everything in between. And I'll share all of the impactful tools and lessons that I've learned on this planet so far. The light is within you. Can you feel it? Hello and welcome to another episode of the Light and Dark podcast. What I wanted to talk today was about what I call imperfect truth. And this is going to be talking about a few concepts that have come to the light today. And one of the things that I've been working with a lot lately is understanding sensations or pain or tightness within the body and how they relate spiritually, why they are showing up and what are they trying to teach us or teach me in this case. And one of the things that, it was just happening today, I noticed a lot of jaw clenching, jaw tightness within myself, and it's pretty much happened my entire life. But, as I've gotten older, I've started to pay attention more to it. And it used to be like I would clench when I slept and I would grind my teeth and then I'd wake up and my jaw was really tight, and that caused all kinds of issues when I was growing up, when I was a teenager, tons of like orthodontics and that kind of stuff, dentists telling me this and that. And, it started with like, oh, well, okay, that's just a part of life. Like, that sucks. But now as I've gotten older and I've started to kind of dive into a little bit more of a holistic spiritual path, I've been like, okay, when does this happen? Like, what is going on that is causing this? And I was actually scrolling Instagram today and I noticed that my jaw was tight. And it was like, I was going and then I got up and I was like, well, that was a waste of time. I completely forgot what I was doing. And, then I went downstairs and grabbed my water and then started to journal. But I was like, interesting. My jaw wasn't tight. Then I was on Instagram. Then I got off and my jaw was tight. Like, okay. Another instance when I noticed this happening is like when I'm watching TV or watching something that is a little bit stressful, my body starts to tighten up, and it's like, it's like that kind of intense anxiety that it's just kind of a low level at first, but you start to pay attention to it over time. And anyways, the whole reason I'm sharing this is because I came to the conclusion that for me, the jaw tightness has to do with an influx of information that's coming through. And it's like there's so much information coming in, but there's not enough coming out. And that's where the tightness occurs. Because if you think about it, our words, our mouth, our jaw, these are ways that we take in information and also let information out, right? So we speak out, we eat, we chew on everything that comes in, we digest it. And then when it comes to releasing energy, of course, we have another way of doing that. But in this case, I'm talking more about how we speak. And in terms of energy, it's that flow of information in and out. And I started to think about, so I'm consuming all this information. And then my body's saying, I don't know how to process this. I can't let it out. I started to think about, when I was a kid and there was a lot of intense situations, whether it would be around, my parents or money or all these things when I was a kid, and it didn't feel safe to have an outlet to let it out, to express it, or to have an opinion, or when I was told not to have certain belief systems. Oh my God, my cat is about to throw up. Sorry if you can hear that. Yep, there it goes. Interesting that's happening now. long story short, I realized, okay, I'm taking too much energy in, not letting it out. I realized all the situations and when this happened when I was a kid. And okay, how can I navigate that, right? Like, how can I start to work with this? And there's been this huge, like, desire to share my voice, which is the entire reason that I am starting this podcast, sharing my voice with you right now. And it's the idea of imperfect truth. And so if you think about this concept of energy, right? So it could be, I'm talking about taking energy in and releasing it out. It could be through gossip. It could be somebody tells you something that's kind of like, ooh, like they're talking about somebody else. Maybe it's a little bit negative. Maybe it's kind of a heated situation. And what happens? You you hear this and you're like kind of maybe a little bit worked up about it internally, or you're like, oh, that's really interesting. And then what do you want to do? You want to go share it. You come home, you talk to your family, you talk to your partner, whatever it is, and you have to let it out because you have this energy inside you that is either positive or it's negative. And either way, if it's positive, it's going to come out through passion. If it's negative, it's going to come out through, okay, I got to get this out, so I got to tell somebody else. And then that negativity just transfers to somebody else. And so it's like this give and take way of looking at energy. And I've been having a lot of realizations around my financial situation that have come up recently quite strongly. And so I was thinking about this in terms of money. How was the money made? Was it in a positive situation or a negative situation? So you have that charge around it. And, money is meant to be, it's meant to flow. Everything is meant to flow. Everything has energy. Everything is meant to flow. Money is supposed to flow in and flow out. And so if you made the money or came by the money in terms of a negative aspect, maybe it was something that you were doing that you didn't necessarily like to do, then that money is probably going to leave pretty quickly because it's not meant to be, you're not meant to have it. You're not meant to hold it because it has this energy of negativity. And it's not even looking at it in like a good or bad kind of way. It's just saying everything has a positive and a negative charge. I pulled this oracle card today around magnetism, and it was talking about defining your values so that you know what is for you and what is not. When you attract certain things, then you can immediately know, okay, do I want this? Do I not? And it's not to say that you're going to attract everything you want. You're just going to attract everything that is coming at you from your belief system. So I'm diving a little bit deep here, but I hope you're following along because it's like really getting clear on who you are and what you want, and then getting clear on what you're taking in, what you're putting in, and how you're expressing it out. And so then relating this back to sharing my voice. It's like I've had a lot of situations in my life that have caused me to want to share. I've traveled a lot. I've met some incredible people. I've learned a lot. I've had a lot of really intense situations happen. And I've had a burning desire to kind of know it all and feel it all. Not necessarily in a negative way, but just saying, I really want to have a rich experience here. And that wants to be shared because what I'm doing is I'm going along through life collecting energy, collecting experiences, which is building this kind of internal pressure, and it wants to be shared to, well, in this case to you, to the listeners, in a way that I would love to be able to help and to inspire. I would love to have this positive impact. And so I hope these words find you well. I hope you're resonating with what I'm sharing, because it's like really what I want this to be is energy mastery. I want to in my own life, be able to understand everything from a physical and from an energetic perspective, and knowing my intention behind certain things. And ultimately, it's like we can get clear, we can be open, we can really, really get quiet and listen to the energy that's coming from the divine, right? Coming from God, coming from the creator, from source, whatever you want to call it. If we can really, really get clear on what energy wants to come through, then we can kind of process it and share it. Take it in, let it out. If we're doing that through other external means, whether it be, through stimulation, whether it be social media or just involving your life in go, doing, having all of these situations that come at you in the external world, which can also be really helpful, then that's what we share. So I think it's like one of those both and situations. We want to, as it's part of being human, we want to have these experiences and then share them. We want to be able to really understand, or at least I do. I want to be able to understand what's going on in my life and how I can use them to the best ability that I can make something positive out of a situation. You take these tools and really use them in a way that's going to impact my life for the better, and then hopefully impact the world around me. But yeah, it's just so interesting. So this idea of the imperfect truth comes in, where it is my truth. I'm sharing it. And I don't have to worry about every single word being perfect. I don't have to worry about everything that I'm sharing being right or wrong. It just is. This is my truth. This is what I'm sharing. And I promise to you guys and to myself that I'm going to do my best to make sure that the words come out from the heart and from an experience of my own, or from a source that's maybe a higher vibration that comes through in a way that can serve and that can help. But either way, by sharing it, it's out there. It's for me. These words are for me, to help me process, to help me kind of make sense of this reality that we're in. But if it helps other people, then I'm stoked as well. So, I've really been feeling this call for so long to find a way in which I can use my gifts and to be able to share what I've learned. And I always thought that it had to be through like this really intense knowledge that I somehow gained. Like I had to read every book or take every training or learn some sort of Eastern esoteric wisdom or practice, or which all those things I want to do, by the way. Like that's the greatest part of it. It's like, yeah, I'm interested in everything, and I will always continue to share it based on that. But it doesn't have to be this big thing. It doesn't have to be perfect before it comes out. And I think I want to even relate this into anything. If you are an artist or a creative, and maybe you think that you're not, maybe you're like, yeah, no way. Because I had a story for a long, long time that still plays out, that I'm not creative, that I'm not an artist. And again, it comes back to what are the gifts that I have noticed throughout my life that people admire in me or that I admire in myself. I've always been good with people, and I've always had a desire to connect. And that generally happens through words. So knowing how to identify your gifts and share them with the world, that's what it comes back to. It could be through your painting. It could be through making music. It could be through whatever it is that you do in your career, whether you're, an accountant or an architect or whatever. Even if you make a really good coffee. Do what you do it with love, and share it. And maybe along the way, start to ask yourself if there's anything else that you could be doing that is a little bit closer to what you're passionate about. And then do that. But I think it's really important to make time and space for the things that you love to do and do them. And then share them without the intention of them being perfect, without the intention of it being for someone, without putting the pressure on yourself that it has to be a certain way. Because this is what I've learned. I've stopped myself from creating for so long, for so many years. Because I always said, no, it's not perfect, or it's not good enough, or someone's going to think it's this way, or I don't want it to sound that way, or it doesn't look like that, what that person does, or, there's so many stories that I've just let kind of run my life for a long, long time. And I guess today is the day that I make the decision to not let that be the case anymore. So the imperfect truth, I feel like it's such like a double entendre, or like a paradox, or it's like truth just is. It doesn't have to be perfect. Even though, I don't know about you, but when I think of the word truth, I think truth is like the ultimate level of perfection. It's like what we strive to know or receive. It's like truth has this very strong essence to it, that it's like almost unattainable, but it's yet what we all want or strive for. And letting it be your truth and letting it be imperfect. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. And I hope that you resonate with what I'm sharing. And if you don't, that's also great too, right? Because we're going to attract people in situations that either really, really like us, or they don't, and that's okay. We're just here to be us. And the more that you can be you, the more that you are going to bring in the things that are for you. So here's to being you. Here's to creating. Here's to sharing. Here's to the imperfect truth. And again, I so appreciate your willingness to listen, to hear me, to support, and just for your presence here. So have a beautiful day. I will always do my best to keep these short, sweet, practical, and packed full of goodness. So love you all so much, and we'll talk soon.